Tribal Chief is here on your Friday evening. Roman Reigns is crowned the new Tribal Chief of SmackDown on Fox with a big celebration. Jey Uso is getting another Universal Championship match. Normally, I'd be very critical of that. But I'm going to tell you why tonight, I'm not. SmackDown was the night of rematches, man. Seems like Bruce's creativity was flushed down the toilet with his fucking dinner tonight. Sasha Banks and Bayley is happening next week, and WWE seems to have blown their load already. This is the #1 podcast in the IWC. We don't bust loads here, bro. We just take the crown as being the best. We're gonna go over it all right here for your SmackDown post show. Right here on Off the Script.
Delete! This is mine.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here. This is the SmackDown post show on Off the Script. It is October 2nd, 2020. Man, oh man, you know, SmackDown, I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy the show because I'd be lying to you guys. I did enjoy certain aspects of the show. It was every other segment on this show that I actually enjoyed. The open with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso was fantastic. And I said it once, I'm going to say it again. Roman Reigns is easily the best thing on WWE television. This was undoubtedly the right move for Roman Reigns. He just comes off as much more enjoyable. He comes off watchable. He comes off genuine. He plays the role right. And I do not have any hatred for what they are doing with Roman Reigns right now. So kudos to them. Hopefully they can keep it up. Jey Uso came out. He's getting another rematch at Hell in a Cell for the Universal Championship. Normally I'd shit all over that. We're going to dive into why I don't necessarily hate the idea. And I love the storyline because it's real. And it's family, and they're taking aspects of their childhood and aspects of their family and aspects of their real life, and they're incorporating it into this storyline, which always makes for a much more enjoyable experience for us fans while watching the storyline progress. Then we had Alexa Bliss on the Kevin Owens show. Now, I don't know why Kevin Owens is nothing more than a glorified talk show host. They have to have something more for him to do. I mean, that's ridiculous. You bring him over from Monday Night Raw to SmackDown, and you got a draft next week, and you're using the brand-to-brand invitational now when you have a draft next week. I don't understand that whatsoever. I don't know why anybody else couldn't do what Kevin Owens did tonight to get the answers out of Alexa Bliss. She didn't even give answers. She just told us what we already knew. So Kevin Owens is on SmackDown. Apparently they had a confrontation with The Fiend. Or he did, actually. Kevin Owens had a confrontation with The Fiend. So did Alexa Bliss. And that was very enjoyable. And that was very intriguing. She took his hand, and it's almost as if now this pairing is complete. What they do next and where they go, I am intrigued. Because I said it once, and I'm going to say it again. This is the best work of Alexa Bliss's career. No matter what she's done nothing in the ring that is memorable whatsoever. And if you try and tell me that she's done something memorable as far as the match goes, you're an absolute idiot. You're a shill, and you know nothing. This is the best work of Alexa Bliss's career. No question. Why? Because she's just much more interesting now than she's ever been. And that's all I want. The more you keep her out of the ring, the better she will be. This is the role for her. Some people just don't thrive in an in-ring aspect. She's thriving here. And you're getting to see her acting ability. And I think it's coming off very good. Then we had Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship. A little fucking silly in the main event of this show tonight. All because the entire match centered around a fucking turnbuckle pad that went missing during the introductions because of Sami Zayn. And we'll go over why it was fucking silly and why it was stupid when we talk about the match a little bit later. But regardless of that, and the referee's just dumbfounded look, you know, like he didn't realize the turnbuckle pad was missing. The match itself was great. And this is your weekly Sami Zayn is fucking incredible statement. Sami Zayn is fucking incredible. I hope he never loses the Intercontinental Championship. And the right guy won tonight. And hopefully we can move on from Sami Zayn having anything to do with AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy, and we can get some new competition for Sami Zayn. And I do think new competition is going to come in the way of somebody from Monday Night Raw. There's nobody on this show right now currently that is going up against Sami Zayn and have it be enjoyable. We need new blood. We need a new show. We need a completely new roster for both of these shows. And I honestly hope that WWE does the right thing and brings a Ricochet over to SmackDown or a Mustafa Ali over to SmackDown. Those guys versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship, one or the other, would be absolutely fantastic. Hopefully Bruce has a fucking brain cell and has some sort of creativity flowing through his veins, because that's what needs to happen. Those guys would fit like a glove in the Intercontinental title scene on SmackDown. Hopefully that happens. Everything else in between, man, this show was nothing more than fucking rematches. I don't know what is with SmackDown and the goddamn rematches. Otis versus John Morrison. Give me a break. Nobody fucking cares. Then you got Baron Corbin and Matt Riddle in the ring again in a six-man tag. Do you know who their partners were? Corbin had Cesaro and Nakamura, and Matt Riddle had the Lucha House Party. So not only did we get one rematch with Baron Corbin and Matt Riddle, we got two rematches in one six-man tag. Then we got Sheamus versus Chad Gable. What is it with the rematches, Bruce? Is that all you got? Is that the level of your creativity? Has it reached its limit? And don't tell me it's because of COVID. There's got to be something else you can give me on this show besides what we've got. This has been the same fucking show, minus things rearranged here or there, for the last 6 weeks now. Give me a break. SmackDown had its ups. SmackDown had its downs. The ups were very good. The downs were very down. But all in all, there were things that I liked. There were things that I didn't like. But what else is new? It's WWE. That's pretty much the way of the land here on Off the Script. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here this evening. Let's check in on the chat. We got 1,000. We got 1,000. I assume most of you are watching the Miami Heat versus the Lakers finals. So fuck me and fuck the podcast, because I'm not going to beat out Game 2 of the NBA Finals. It is what it is. But I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast, man. If you do enjoy what you see, if you do enjoy what you hear, please hit that thumbs up down below. and turn on the bell for all notifications. If you guys want to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the podcast, you guys can do that in a variety of ways. Number one, Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. And it's never an obligation. It's always there if you guys want to support. So if you do, it's always there for you. Shout out to all my patrons that have actually pledged this week. Thank you so very much, guys. I really appreciate you. Hoop Media says people are still watching you, JD. You are number one. Thank you, Hoop Media. I didn't even have to fucking ask you. Hoop Media in the chat, my analyst. Awesome. Always number one, man. Like when I find out we're number one in the community, man. It makes all the hate that I get every single day a lot much, or pretty much enjoyable at the end of the day, man. It's a lot just for me to take in, and I just love it. I love it. I just throw it right back in the hater's face, man. But shout out to Hoop Media. If you guys want to follow me on social media, at JD from NY206, that's on Twitter and Instagram. So make sure you guys do that as well. We have several videos that you might have missed on the channel. Number one, Monday Night Raw, AEW. There's an off-the-script extra in there as well. And we got SmackDown right now. And then this weekend, man, there's going to be 2 parts to Off the Script. Number one, on Saturday. So you're going to listen to that, and we're going to rant about WWE seizing everybody's Twitch accounts and taking control of everybody in WWE who has a Twitch account, and it's going to count towards their downside guarantee. This is a heated rant, probably one of the best rants that I've done all year, and you guys should definitely tune into that tomorrow, so keep an eye when that goes live on the channel. And then part 2 is going to be uploaded on Sunday afternoon, and we're going to talk about Miro. Miro was on the Chris Van Vliet podcast, and he exposed WWE on some of the pertinent things that we were all wondering about in his time in WWE. So that is going to be on Saturday and Sunday, man. So you got a lot to look forward to. And then on Sunday night, the main event, I will be live on Sunday night with NXT TakeOver 31, the official post show for TakeOver, right here on Off the Script. So make sure you guys are ready for that. I will be live, and I will see you guys on the live stream. Today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at Harry's. Harry's.com/script. Make sure you guys go and get your razor blades. They got the new sharpest blades ever. Harry's has developed, and you guys can get that right now by signing up to Harry's.com/script to get your value trial set, man. Go and get it. I'm going to be using it this weekend. I love them. And they're great friends of the show, so thank you to Harry's for always being there and being a great sponsor for Off the Script. I got some SmackDown news, guys, because nothing much happened on the show tonight that I really want to spend too much time on, except for one piece of information, which is Sasha and Bayley. So I'm saving my venom for that. I do not agree with that whatsoever. I do not agree with WWE loading up the draft and giving away a pay-per-view on Friday night next week. Sasha and Bayley deserve better than that. You've built this entire feud up, and now you're giving the first match away on free TV. Fucking ridiculous, man. Anyway, let's start with the news. WWE is likely moving SmackDown to FS1 during the World Series. Now, WWE needed to preempt their programming in the past for sporting events. They just recently had NXT do that for the NHL postseason when that got in the way on the USA Network. It appears that an episode of SmackDown will be moved to FS1 later this month. The World Series is set to take place at the end of October. Will the Braves be in the World Series? I don't know. But I did find out today that we got the Miami Marlins in the next division series. Now, the Braves have struggled a little bit with Miami. Hopefully, they can continue to be hot. And then by the time we get to the NLCS, it'll either be the St. Louis Cardinals or the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then the Braves and their season will be over. So that's that. I didn't even think they were going to get through the Reds, and they surprised the shit out of me by sweeping the Reds. So I took great pleasure in that, but Miami is a little iffy, and then when the Braves, or if the Braves, I should say, get to the NLCS, forget about it. The Dodgers and the Cardinals? The Braves can't beat the Cardinals in a playoff series if their lives depended on it. Anyway, So the World Series is set to take place at the end of October. One game falls on a Friday and is scheduled to air on Fox. WWE will likely have to move Friday Night SmackDown to FS1 on October 23rd. It is just going to be a one-week hiatus, though, from Fox, so they will likely be back the next week without any issues. The last time Friday Night SmackDown had to air on FS1, they only drew 888,000 viewers. That wasn't the best turnout that WWE wanted, but hopefully they will get the word out a little bit earlier this time that they will be preempted by the World Series. So if you guys come, you heard it here first. October 23rd, there will be no SmackDown on Fox. It will be on FS1. Mark it on your calendars if you care that much. So that's that. Now, Matt Riddle was on the show tonight. Matt Riddle was on the show, and Matt Riddle, a lot of you guys didn't like his hairstyle because he braided his hair. Some people were texting me. Some people were tweeting me. JD, what did they do to Matt Riddle? Yada, yada, yada. He looks like a female. Blah, 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 blah. Now, I watched Matt Riddle when he was in NXT, and I seen Matt Riddle do that several times in NXT, and it never bothered me then, and it's not going to bother me now. I think you guys are sometimes a little bit more critical than I am when it comes to certain things and you paying attention to detail. It's not that big of a deal. And he got the win tonight, which I was happy about, and he got the pinfall in his match against Cesaro, I believe. So, Vince McMahon, he calls up Matt Riddle, or demotes Matt Riddle. A couple of months back, they throw him right into the fire against AJ Styles, and then give him an Intercontinental Championship match 3 weeks into his run. And I said it then, and I'm going to say it now. Why? Why did you give him a shot at the Intercontinental Championship when that should be the first title that you start building him up towards? Why did you have to blow your load on Matt Riddle in the Intercontinental Championship title picture? Now, that's another guy that Sami Zayn can go and wrestle. I think that would be great. I think they'd have one fucking great match, Matt Riddle and Sami Zayn. I think that would be an entertaining program, not only in the ring, but on the microphone as well. Can you imagine Sami Zayn just ripping into Matt Riddle? I think that would be fantastic. But they blew their load with Matt Riddle very early. I asked why. Everybody was like, oh, this is how you build new stars. And then clearly, I am of better judgment than everybody. I mean, I'm the fucking tribal chief. I'm the Messiah for a reason, folks. I don't say shit because it sounds good. I don't say shit because it sounds cool. I don't say shit because I want a thumbs up or a click on a video. I say shit because that's the way shit is. If you don't want to hear it, go listen to some fucking UK Wrestle Geek, okay? Or go listen to fucking Simon give this show 16 thumbs up and 1 down. Matt Riddle did not need to get thrusted that quickly. Why? Because we all knew exactly where he was going to be. Going this way. Instead, he should be going this way. He went this way. Okay? He was going down instead of going up. We all knew what WWE was going to do. Flavor of the month. Oh, look, a new guy from NXT. Oh, my God, he's got so much hype around him. Yada, yada, yada. What happened? He became a background player for weeks until WWE decided, hey, maybe we should stop pushing this guy. Maybe he should be on TV. Then they had him lose to Baron Corbin, Matt Riddle. He lost to fucking Baron Corbin clean. Give me a break. So now there's news on why it's something of a stalled push. Why is Matt Riddle's push being stalled on the main roster? Now, Ringside News has learned that Matt Riddle's push in WWE didn't materialize as some would have liked for a reason. Matt Riddle didn't instill the confidence that he needed with Vince McMahon. One tenured member of the creative team told Ringside News, and I quote, I don't think he's being pushed as a top guy right now, despite reports that he was on top of a roster depth chart backstage in the company as a guy to push. End quote. Now, Matt Riddle's push isn't dead. Matt Riddle is not buried. Matt Riddle is not dead yet. So please, if you're in the chat claiming that Matt Riddle is buried, you should bury your fucking head in the sand because you're a fucking idiot. Matt Riddle is not buried, okay? I will let you know when someone is buried. Matt Riddle is not buried. So it's not dead. His push is not dead. Matt Riddle's not buried. But Vince thinks he's getting everyone over to the degree they can handle for the push that they are given. Riddle is not getting buried, but there is a mindset that he's simply not ready for that nudge into the main event scene. Some fans assumed Riddle would make an easy transition to the top of SmackDown after beating AJ Styles in his debut match, and that is not the case. The story is far from over for Matt Riddle. Ringside News exclusively reported how Riddle used stories of his backstage heat in the past to drum up hype for himself. He still has a lot of fans in WWE backstage, and he will likely and eventually get the opportunity so many want for him. Matt Riddle will simply have to wait a little bit longer for that to happen. I do think that he will be pushed. I don't know why they look at him and they're stalling on him. I don't understand it. You know, with Matt Riddle, I don't see him getting to the top of SmackDown yet. Does he have the ability to do so? Abso-fucking-lutely. He's got the ability to be the face of the fucking company if he wants to. That's how good he is. He is marketable. He is a guy that people can relate to because he's genuine. He's himself. And that's why he has so much charm. And that's why fans love him, because he's not a manufactured fucking robot. Now, when you have him cut promos like Bro and give me every adaptation of fucking Bro mixed with the human emotion, then yes, you're just making him into a WWE fucking robot. But the reason people love Matt Riddle is because not only is he great in the ring, he's just that charismatic. He has a lot of charisma, genuine, natural charisma that people do not have. So, with Matt Riddle, I think we should all get it out of our heads, and WWE should get it out of their heads, that they don't necessarily need to push him to the top, because he's not beating Roman Reigns, he's not beating one of the bigger names for the WWE Universal title, or whatever major title is on SmackDown or Raw, depending on where he ends up. I think he stays with SmackDown. Why don't we start getting him wins? And why don't we start giving him a run at the IC title? That's what needs to happen. That's the title that all people who are looked at as a potential face of the company, a future piece of the company, that is the title they go for. And I really would love, if Matt Riddle won an Intercontinental Championship, and he's the Intercontinental Champion, and then WWE brings up an Adam Cole, and we get Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole for the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown, or Raw, or wherever they end up. I mean, that sells itself. They had one of the best matches in all of NXT last year, Matt Riddle and Adam Cole. WWE just posted it on their YouTube channel. That's the way you got to go with Matt Riddle. There's no need to rush him to the top, because he's not beating somebody like Roman Reigns. We don't know who is going to come after Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion. Right now, it's not even a thought. Roman Reigns can hold that title for the rest of the fucking year. But giving Matt Riddle the IC title, that's the way to go. Get him in a position where people can look at him as a serious threat. Don't hide him in the shadows. Don't continue to book him in these fucking worthless six-man tags or feuding him with Baron Corbin. That will do nothing. He is much better than that, and WWE should know that by now. Stop playing backstage politics with Matt Riddle. Push the man now. Stop the stalling. This goes back to WWE not wanting to build new stars. And I mentioned this on tomorrow's show. Or Sunday's show, one of the shows I said it. WWE is so fucking afraid of building new stars because they feel like if they push somebody to the moon and they make a superstar, then they are going to take that and do WWE dirty, try to negotiate more money or a new contract, and then they might end up leaving and go somewhere else with all the stardom that WWE gave to them. WWE is so afraid of building new stars and them having going and them going somewhere else. It's fucking pathetic. Work with what you got now and keep everybody happy. Take the chance on them staying instead of not doing anything and them leaving. They would rather see somebody fucking mediocre than somebody great. I hate it. I really fucking hate it. Push Matt Riddle. Enough of the stalling. Not only with him, with everybody. With everybody. Roman Reigns. the best thing on WWE television. And that was not what I had felt 2-3 years ago. Roman Reigns, he is with Paul Heyman, and he described how Paul Heyman helps him off screen with his new role. Now, Roman Reigns' big return at SummerSlam shocked everybody. He was at Clash of Champions in a great match with Jey Uso, won the title at Payback. And the match with Jey Uso, the finish of the match, was just great pro wrestling storytelling. It was definitely influenced by Paul Heyman. I don't need anybody to tell me that. I don't need a report to tell me that. That's the way it came off. Everything. Attention to detail. Roman Reigns kicking out with the low blow. That was Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns and the storytelling about Jimmy Uso coming down and throwing in the towel. That was Paul Heyman. That entire ending was Paul Heyman. Everything. Match was laid out brilliantly. Now, the Load Management podcast recently spoke with Roman Reigns, and he went into his pairing with Paul Heyman in a different way. He said it's refreshing that Paul Heyman isn't in a position of creative control over the entire writing team anymore. Now Heyman only focuses on Roman Reigns' creative direction. That extra time makes the power pairing even more dangerous. He says, and I quote, "But I do know, working with Paul, him kind of being a heel manager throughout his run in that role has definitely helped me, and it's really nice to be able to work with him on so many levels. Obviously, on screen is really cool, and to be able to flesh this relationship out is going to be nice, but just to be around him backstage, it's pretty refreshing, and especially now, he's not in that role of having all of creative to be in charge of. He's just helping me out with my creative and our direction moving forward. I definitely feel like it's a bit of a power pairing for sure. That's just going to continue to thrive in the weeks to come." End quote. So Roman Reigns is pretty much saying that Paul Heyman doesn't have 3 hours of a show to write, and all of his brain power is going into Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman is fresh with ideas where he doesn't have to come up with ideas for a Garza or Andrade or Aleister Black or Humberto or Seth Rollins or Rey Mysterio and Buddy Murphy and the Street Profits and Braun Strowman and all these fucking guys, right? He's simply working with Roman Reigns on Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns is almost detailing it as, yeah, Paul Heyman is very good at what he does. And he was executive director of Monday Night Raw, writing Monday Night Raw. And now I have his genius solely writing for me. I have the one guy that a lot of people appreciate and respect as far as his creativity. He's solely writing for me now. Sounds like a power pairing to me, if you ask me. I know if I'm going to have somebody in the WWE to, lend me an ear on creative, it's going to be Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns based his character. This is fun. Listen to this. Not sure if you guys picked up on this week. Roman Reigns actually is basing his heel character off of Daniel Day-Lewis's Butcher character from Gangs of New York. That similarity is apparent once you realize how Reigns and Heyman's relationship has given him an opportunity to show so much more. Triple H recently spoke to WWE on the bump, and he praised Roman Reigns' change of character as well. He said that Reigns is now a full, finished product after making that career-defining heel turn. He says on the bump, "I think what we're seeing now is the full finished product. Everybody goes through some sort of evolution of who they are, what they want to be, what they want to accomplish with their life and their career. For Roman, I think it's been different because of his family background and all of the Samoan dynasty, so to speak. When you step into that arena with the pressure on you, including The Rock, it's heavy on what you can accomplish and what you can do. When you look at Roman, it's not hard to think this guy has everything possible to not only be a star in WWE, but in anything he wants to do. He looks like a movie star. He's one of the most athletic guys on the roster. He's smart, he's articulate, and he's composed. What we see now is the finished article." End quote. Roman Reigns, listen, man, I have been a huge Roman Reigns character detractor. I have expressed my hatred for the booking of Roman Reigns for 6 years on this very podcast. And I will honestly say, without any hesitation, that Roman Reigns is easily, right now, in this 1 month, 1.5 month build of him becoming a heel. Easily the best thing on WWE television. This is exactly what I knew and a lot of people knew was coming. If this was the move to make. And now we're seeing it play out. And it's fucking great. It feels great. And pairing him with Paul Heyman, it's even better. So if you guys picked up on that Daniel Day-Lewis Butcher character from Gangs of New York, now you know where that came from. And if you see it, that's the character that he's emulating on SmackDown. Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was one of those guys that WWE punished when they pulled him from the roster because he wanted to sit out with COVID. And he was home for 3 months, 4 months. And WWE had just given him the Intercontinental Championship. They stripped him while he sat home doing the right thing. Stripped him of the Intercontinental Championship. The only right situation when he did eventually come back was to have him show up with the Intercontinental Championship because he's never lost the title. But before that, going into WrestleMania, there were reports about Sami Zayn being a headache backstage, that he was very rebellious, that he was a troublemaker, that he had an attitude problem, etc., etc. He was a bad seed backstage in WWE. He was difficult to work with. Sami Zayn actually explained all of this on the New Day podcast. And he explains how he was addressed by WWE management about all the rumored backstage behavior that people were saying about Sami Zayn. So he says this on the New Day Feel the Power podcast. He discussed an interaction he had where he needed to be talked to about having backstage issues. This is the quote from the podcast, and I quote, WWE made me aware of some of my own actions. I came in, and the big mantra was perception in reality. Even though I was 28 when I got there, I don't think I was fully mature or a fully mature person in some ways. I don't think I was fully aware that I had my interpretation of what I thought I was, and then there were a lot of people who didn't agree with that. I see myself one way, and they are seeing me in a very different way. It made me a lot more aware of my actions and perceived by people who are not me. For example, what I might perceive as fun-loving, let's have some fun, let's have a fun chat on the bus, that might be perceived as annoying. I always only looked through my own lens. But being around these people with all these different points of view starts to make you look at yourself through their lens. On the independents is a very different mindset. We are all just buddies. I would not call it a competitive environment. Everybody wanted to have great matches, but it's not like you viewed the other person as a threat. When you come to WWE, especially back then, it's different now, but it's fostered a culture that the person sitting next to you was not your friend. He was a threat to your success. It was the culture at the time. I remember struggling with that. End quote. Zayn has been on the roster, the main roster, since 2016. And he was one of the biggest names in NXT. And now he's the Intercontinental Champion. I think he's doing some of the best work of his career, to be quite honest with you. And I love Sami Zayn. I think he's one of the best parts of SmackDown. And I hope he has a very fruitful reign as the Intercontinental Champion. Now, I do get what he's saying. Everybody on the independents wants to see everybody else succeed because everybody's in it for the same reason. They're there because they love it. I see it when I work at House of Glory. Everybody is so happy for each other. Everybody goes out after the shows and they hang out and they drink and they just reminisce about the night that they had at a particular show. We could have a show and everybody's just celebrating how great everybody was and what the future holds for everybody. I could see that being the way on the independents, and I could see where he's coming from in the WWE, you know, especially in NXT. Yeah, it's a very friendly, family-like environment, but the guy sitting next to you, he wants to main event WrestleMania, so do you. And he's going to do what he has to do to get the jump on you as far as ranking in the system of NXT to get ahead of you on the main roster. And then when you get to the main roster and he's there, you know, everybody wants to have that pole position over everybody else. It's a very competitive atmosphere. Some people are only for themselves. Some people are not for the betterment of a division. They're not for the betterment of a show. People are very selfish. I know for a fact that Sasha Banks and Bayley, when that shit happened at WrestleMania, when Becky Lynch won the championship, they lost to the Iconics. They were the only two women out there. That's the best example for me to use. They were the only two women out there watching history being made as they main evented WrestleMania, and Becky Lynch won both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. There were no other women out there. None. They were looked at as outcasts. Everybody else was in the back, or everybody else wasn't paying attention because they didn't fucking care. Bayley and Sasha Banks wanted nothing more than a division to flourish, with them leading the charge. And their issue was, how can we have a flourishing division if everybody is going to be so fucking selfish? And you can see that was the way of the world. That is still the way of the world. Just look at Charlotte Flair. Just look at Charlotte Flair and her actions. Charlotte Flair doesn't want the best for the women's division. She doesn't give a fuck about anybody else on that roster in the women's division. Charlotte Flair only wants what's best for Charlotte Flair. That's the mentality that everybody has. And that's where Sami Zayn is coming from. You look next to somebody, and they are looked at as a threat to you. And that's what Charlotte Flair looks at when she looks at everybody else on that roster. She looks at threats. When she looks at Bianca Belair, she looks at a threat. When she looks at Asuka, she looks at a threat. When she looks at a Tegan Nox, not now that she's hurt, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Io Shirai, Toni Storm, no matter who it could be, she looks at a threat. That's what Sami Zayn is saying. And I hope WWE knows what they're doing with Sami, because there's money in Sami. He's got a genuine old school heel vibe to him. And things like that, when someone can perfect that like Sami Zayn does, it makes not only what he's doing better, whoever he's in the ring with better, it's going to make the title better. That's why I say keep the title on Sami Zayn. A heel holding that championship and being dastardly with that title is going to make the babyface win so much more enjoyable. Sami Zayn is great. Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was on the show. Bray Wyatt was on SmackDown tonight. He's missed the last couple of SmackDowns. In fact, he missed the week after Wobbly Walrus debuted. Now, why has he been off the show? They introduced Wobbly Walrus. We haven't seen Wobbly Walrus since. We haven't seen a Funhouse since Wobbly Walrus. And that was a parody of Paul Heyman. And it said to be continued when we seen the debut of Wobbly Walrus. No new segment followed. What's going on? Wyatt was missing from SmackDown for the last couple weeks. He hasn't been promoted for any shows leading up till tonight. This is not a sign of him losing momentum at all, though. Ringside News asked about this situation, and they have learned that Bray Wyatt is still in a top spot in management's eyes for a babyface run on whatever brand he ends up on. His absence was simply due to the fact that WWE needed additional time to build towards Roman Reigns and Jey Uso's match at Clash of Champions. And it seems like WWE may give up on Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, because I don't see how that benefits Bray Wyatt at all. Why would you put him in harm's way? Putting him in a match with Roman Reigns only does one thing, and that furthers the burial of Bray Wyatt, and you don't want that. Which is why I will say what I think about Bray Wyatt. Wyatt is still getting love from management, lots of it. In fact, there's a big storyline brewing with Alexa Bliss. We don't know where it's going to go or where they may end up. Since Alexa Bliss is on television, it can carry the angle without him being there or WWE needing him for that show. People are still talking about him through the eyes of Alexa Bliss. Bray Wyatt's absence from television for the last couple of weeks wasn't a sign of any problems after the Wobbly Walrus character was met with a lot of controversy because Bruce Pritchard's a fucking loser. He created the character because he is envious or jealous and wants to get back at Paul Heyman for whatever reason. Ringside News reporter Bruce Pritchard was behind the Wobbly Walrus character, and he created it as a dig at Paul Heyman. So that was pretty much it. Bray Wyatt, I still feel the same way I do about Bray Wyatt. I don't think he's special anymore. Hopefully this Alexa Bliss thing can really get him back to feeling at least somewhat important on Friday night. And after tonight, I honestly think WWE is moving away from Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. It does none of them good. None. Roman Reigns beats Bray Wyatt. What does he do? What does he accomplish? Nothing. Nothing. If Bray Wyatt is in a match with Roman Reigns, he ain't winning the title. Nobody's taking that title off of Roman Reigns. Not for a very long time. So why even bother? Why even bother? That's one of the reasons why they're continuing the Jey Uso storyline. And I don't mind that, because it's great storytelling. But Bray Wyatt, in my eyes, I feel like Bray Wyatt's getting drafted to Monday Night Raw. I really do feel like Bray Wyatt is getting drafted to Monday Night Raw. With Roman Reigns back on SmackDown, do they really need Bray Wyatt on SmackDown? The only reason why Bray Wyatt was on SmackDown was because there was nobody else. There was no star power. Now that there is the WWE star power in Roman Reigns, the star power that they always wanted, that they never wanted to go away, Bray Wyatt isn't needed. What star power is on Monday Night Raw? They are hemorrhaging ratings. So if Bray Wyatt goes to Monday Night Raw, they could get the best of both worlds. So I see Bray Wyatt moving to Monday Night Raw. He's not needed on SmackDown. He's not needed. And he's not winning the Universal Championship. That is Roman's for the duration until WWE comes up with a babyface big enough to take down how big of a heel Roman Reigns is. So we move on from that to Bayley. Bayley was supposed to have a match at Clash of Champions against Nikki Cross. Why did they choose Asuka? How did WWE choose Asuka to battle Bayley at Clash of Champions in a worthless, irrelevant, it didn't need to happen type of match? Now, it was Bayley versus Asuka. Sasha Banks returned and destroyed Bayley after the match, or during the match, to cause a DQ. The match was meant to be a setup for Banks and her vengeful return. Alexa Bliss took a shot at Bayley's repetitive Karen attitude on the afternoon of Clash of Champions. So Ringside News asked why Alexa Bliss wasn't picked for the match, and they have an answer. They learned that Vince McMahon didn't want to use Alexa Bliss because he didn't want to throw away Bliss as a setup for Sasha. Another option, Lacey Evans wasn't even considered a tenured, or actually, Lacey Evans wasn't even considered a tenured member of the creative team, confirmed to them. Lacey is not in the best position on SmackDown right now. End quote. SmackDown has an issue with the roster depth on the women's side. That is the understatement of the fucking evening. And there weren't many alternative options. Asuka was chosen because she's a solid competitor and just worked with Bayley, so she didn't lose any heat by winning by DQ. It was all a setup for Sasha Banks' return anyway. Here's a better question, Vince. Why did the match need to happen to begin with? Why didn't you just send Bayley out there for a promo with Sasha Banks to do the same thing that she did to Bayley anyway, minus the match? Why did we need to throw Asuka back out there? Did anybody think of that bright idea? Who said we needed to have a match? Just give Bayley some fucking bullet points to go out there and cut a promo and have Sasha Banks attack. Boom. End of segment. Simple. WWE gave away a match or did a match on pay-per-view that will fucking not even be remembered in the annals of history. Why? If it doesn't make sense, don't book the fucking match. Simple. Simple. Now, one other note on Alexa Bliss. If you guys wondered why she stared down Roman Reigns on SmackDown last week, we all thought that it might be leading to a feud with the Fiend, right? Everybody thought that. So, this was in the news as well. WWE is planning on placing Bray Wyatt at the top of SmackDown. Now, I don't know if this plan has changed or not. I said I could see Bray Wyatt go to Monday Night Raw, and I am sticking to that. But he may very well end up on SmackDown as well. He's not involved in any feud right now, and not any particular feud. And he's in a position where it isn't required for him to even appear on television. That's why we got Alexa Bliss selling the storyline continuation with him and her. So Ringside News has learned that there was a definite intention behind Alexa Bliss glaring at Roman Reigns like she did. Bliss was under the Fiend's spell, and Wyatt's alter ego wants the Universal title that Reigns has. Clash of Champions was Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, and that show was largely built around that storyline on SmackDown. There was little room for anything else. So with WWE, they wanted to throw you a subtle hint there, just to keep that in the back of your mind. Put it in the bank, put it in the vault, and they may actually cycle back to that. Now, again, like I said, I don't know if that is going to change or not. Vince changes plans like he changes fucking underwear. So we don't know if that is still the plan or if now, with the draft coming up next week, they plan to move Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss over to Monday Night Raw. Because that show needs more help than anything. Like I said, they have Roman. So as long as Roman is on SmackDown weekly, the ratings should be fine. Well, the ratings should be consistent with what WWE's been getting. They're not going to dip below it too with Roman Reigns on the show. Bray Wyatt may be needed on Monday Night Raw because that show right now is beyond repair. I don't even know how you begin fixing Monday Night Raw. The worst fucking show on television. So I'm sticking to that. We might have been teased with a Bray Wyatt Roman match, but I don't know if that is actually still in the cards right now because I think Bray Wyatt is going to Monday Night Raw. That is the news portion of the podcast, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. There is a lot coming out of SmackDown. I like giving the SmackDown news on the podcast on Friday night instead of just overindulging myself and overwhelming everybody with so much news on the weekend. So that is the major news coming out of SmackDown this week. And any more news, obviously, I will be back with SmackDown news next week when I am live for the draft. 1,251 in the chat. There's only 377 likes. Let's get that thumbs up, guys. Hit the thumbs up. It helps out the channel. I love you. Let's do it. Let's get to at least 600 likes in the chat before we end the SmackDown review here on the Off the Script post show. Thank you to everybody that's here. Shout out to my sponsor for tonight's show. We are talking about Harry's. Harry's.com/script. You guys know the deal with Harry's, man. You're going to get a new, sharpest blade ever with Harry's. And they have just made major improvements to their new razor blades, man. And they are not charging you any more for these new product improvements. They are still as low as $2 each. The new blades are so sharp that they did a study with guys who shave 4 times a week. The guys reported that with Harry's new blades, their 8th shave was as smooth as their first, man. You got a 100% quality guarantee on Harry's.com. Blades are delivered right to your door on your schedule with or without a subscription. And if you guys sign up and use Harry's.com/script, you're going to get a trial offer that includes a 5-blade razor featuring their new sharpest blades ever, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover to protect your blade when you're on the go. Guys, please start shaving better today. Support Harry's. It's a great way to support the show. Go and get your trial set today. Harry's.com/script. Always a great sponsor, Harry's, man. I appreciate them very much. And I got a ton of new blades just waiting to be used. Can't wait to use them this weekend. SmackDown. SmackDown started off with Roman Reigns and the ceremony of Roman Reigns being appointed or anointed as the tribal chief on SmackDown. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman walked out to Reigns' music. His t-shirt said, "Show up and win tonight." So Reigns held the Universal Championship in the air. Heyman was staring at the title. Heyman said, "We all knew this was destined to happen." He said that they are there to crown Reigns as the new tribal chief of the entire WWE universe. He said that's why it's important he is their Universal Heavyweight Champion. He said he wanted to set the stage with proper respect. He mentioned famous family members from WWE's past. He then handed the mic to Reigns, and he told Heyman, "I don't want you to call me that." Reigns said to Heyman, and he's making eye contact with Heyman, "Don't talk about them. Don't talk about any of them. I am here, and I want to call out Jey to the ring." So he called Jey Uso out to the ring, as he didn't want Paul Heyman to talk about his family and his family lineage. Jey came out, and he walked to the ring. Jey entered the ring and said he beat his ass. Reigns beat his ass at Clash of Champions, but he didn't break his spirit. He said he was ready to go to war, and if Jimmy hadn't thrown in the towel, that Universal Championship would be his right now. Reigns asked, "Do you think I'm proud of what I did?" He said at Clash, it was the worst night of his career and the worst night of his life, professionally and personally. He said he was trying to do Jey a favor and trying to help him. He said he just wanted to put his name in the bright lights on the marquee, give him a big payday for his wife and kids, and then he told Jey, "I love you more than your brother loves you." He said Jey has been there his whole life for him. "All I wanted to do was raise you up. All you had to do was acknowledge me as the tribal chief." Then he went on and said from the day he was born, it was his birthright. He then added, "It's not because it was given to me. I had to work my ass off. You've seen it the whole way." But Reigns then told Jey, if he wants another shot at the title, then you got it. And all Jey did was look at the championship. Look at me while I'm talking to you. You're looking at the championship. Is this that important to you? Look at me when I'm addressing you, said Reigns. So Reigns told Jey he can get another title shot at Hell in a Cell if he wants. He said the match will be yours, but it will come with the highest stakes that any match has ever had in WWE history. I doubt that very much. Reigns moved in and he hugged Jey Uso. He whispered something in Jey's ear, and he said something about the match having incredible consequences if accepted. So Jey looked a little sad, and he was accepting the words that Roman Reigns was projecting at him. So Reigns walked out of the ring, and he made his way to the back up the ramp. Jey took the microphone again and yelled for Reigns and said, "Whatever stakes are on the line, you are on." So Reigns stopped, he looked back, he smiled, and then he continued to walk up the ramp and then back into Gorilla. So then suddenly AJ Styles' music plays, and he walked out, and then he proclaimed and asked, "Is it over?" I missed it, didn't I? He asked if it really matters who sits at the end of the table with him or who has the most chicken bones. He said he doesn't want to see him take another beating like he did on Sunday. He then told Jey that someone more qualified should get a Universal title match. He told him that his older brother is a better athlete and everyone knows it. So just go on living by the runt he's always been. So then Jey took this obviously offensively and he tackled Styles, and then we go to commercial break. So never mind Styles. I'll get to Styles and Uso in a second. With Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, this was great. I love this open. I am loving everything these two are doing. But the one negative I have about this is we're getting another rematch again. Now, why are we getting a rematch? I don't know. Is WWE in a position where they don't want to give us Bray Wyatt yet? Are they saving that for something bigger? I don't even know if that's the case anymore. Does WWE have anybody lined up for Roman Reigns? Probably not. There is nobody on SmackDown right now that is even worthy of being in the ring with Roman Reigns. The only reason why Jey Uso is working right now so well is because A, he's a great promo, he's a very good wrestler, and he's family. The family aspect is the most important aspect of them all. That's why it's working so well. But genuinely, ask yourselves, is there anybody else on SmackDown worthy of being in the main event in the ring with Roman Reigns? And will it have a detrimental effect to their career or push on TV? You can't give me Bray Wyatt because another loss means another foot in the grave for the Fiend. And the Fiend should not be losing at all anymore. We've had a ton of that happen in the past already. We don't need any more losses for the Fiend. So WWE, in my eyes, again, I am not a guy that tends to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not. But I will say this. With the draft coming up, WWE is probably going with this Uso match because of the WWE draft. They, more than likely, will be drafting somebody from Monday Night Raw to go in the ring with Roman Reigns and prolong his title run till at least the Royal Rumble. And then at that point, we can start coming up with who's Reigns going to fight at WrestleMania? Who's going to win the Royal Rumble? What's next? Is it going to be The Rock? What do they got planned? So WWE has to get themselves from now till January. I don't see anybody on SmackDown right now worthy of being in the ring and worse yet, taking a loss. You can't beat these guys. You can't beat Bray Wyatt. You can't beat Matt Riddle. Can't beat Daniel Bryan. Who else is there? There genuinely is nobody. Jeff Hardy? Jeff Hardy versus Roman Reigns sounds like an intriguing match. But even that, I don't really give a shit about at the end of the day. Jeff Hardy is there to do what? Lose? Jeff Hardy's better than that. Everybody should be built up to a certain level. You just can't throw people in front of Reigns and have him beat everybody. They have to at least have some momentum for themselves. All these guys either need wins themselves or have no momentum themselves. So you can't beat somebody on the up, and you can't beat somebody that's already been beaten down to death. You got to give somebody a chance. You got to have some momentum. You got to have some consistency. So I do think WWE is going with Uso inside Hell in a Cell because there genuinely is nobody on SmackDown right now, and they're going to wait to see who is a good possibility coming over from Monday Night Raw in the draft for the next pay-per-view. And even at Survivor Series, which is the next pay-per-view, they have an easy out. They have an easy out at the Survivor Series because they don't need to find an opponent for Roman Reigns. If it is Raw versus SmackDown, they have Drew McIntyre or Randy Orton waiting. More than likely, it will be Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. WWE Champion versus Universal Champion. So they have an easy out. They only have to worry about December. That's it. So when you want to know why they prolonged Jey Uso and why they didn't go for the Fiend, that is pretty much all you need to know. That is pretty much all you need to know. Now, Jey Uso versus AJ Styles. We got this match in 11 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. I'm not necessarily a fan of AJ Styles putting over Jey Uso, but I think AJ Styles at this point in his career is pretty much bulletproof, but there's got to be a better way. I don't think anybody on the planet going into this match thought that Jey Uso can beat Roman Reigns in a one-on-one match before this feud with Roman Reigns. But now AJ is putting over Jey Uso because Jey Uso needed a win going into Hell in a Cell. And what does this mean for AJ Styles? AJ Styles is undoubtedly moving to Monday Night Raw. Whether that's because it gives him freedom to watch his son play on Friday nights, or he just wants to get away from Paul Heyman. So, either one of those excuses works good for me. AJ Styles lost this match after being in an Intercontinental Championship program, lost to Jey Uso. This pretty much means this was AJ Styles' send-off on SmackDown. Not a big fan of that, but WWE more than likely is moving him to Monday night. So Jey avoided a Styles corner dive, then sidekicked him, followed by a Samoan drop and a neck breaker for a 2 count. Styles came back with a Pele kick and a Death Valley driver, or the Ushi-Goroshi, I should say. They called it a Death Valley driver, I believe, on commentary, which I find it very funny how they can't call wrestling moves by their actual names. Ushi-Goroshi is the name of the move. They won't call it. Michael Cole or Corey Graves, I think, have that term banned on WWE commentary. So Jey landed an enziguri to Styles on the ring apron, and then he connected with a running dive through the ropes. So he went for a splash in the ring, but Styles got the knees up. He went for the Uso splash, and Styles got the knees up. And Styles went for his phenomenal forearm, but Jey kicked him off balance on the springboard. He landed on the top rope, and then he super kicked him in the jaw. He fell into the ring. Uso went up top, hit the Uso splash, and Uso wins in 11 minutes. Getting a clean win over AJ Styles is a big momentum boost coming out of Clash of Champions, and he didn't even look bad at Clash of Champions, did Jey Uso. He wasn't pinned. He didn't tap out. And now, with him not being pinned or being tapped out, he looked better than Roman Reigns did. Roman Reigns put him over. Jimmy threw in the towel. So now he says, you know what? I had you beat. So that's why he's getting another match, and he got a win over Styles. So he looked good at the pay-per-view, Clash of Champions, and now he looked good here against AJ Styles. So good for him. Good for him. Normally, I'd shit all over this, but I see where WWE is going with it. So I don't have a problem with that. Sami stood backstage with the 2 IC title belts, one over each shoulder. He said, everyone is expecting him to gloat. I wish he would have. He went to gloat, but then he says he feels resentment and anger because he had to put himself through so much risk to get back what was his all along. He said he at first blamed WWE management, but then he realized the real blame lies with the fans who went all along with the ride and accepted him being stripped of the Intercontinental Championship. Bro, I don't know if you're listening to my podcast. I was with you the entire way, bro. I was with you the entire way. I backed you up every step of the way. I knew. Even when you were gone, you were still the rightful Intercontinental Championship, man. Someone let Sami Zayn know. Seriously. So, he blamed management. He blamed the fans. Actually, he didn't blame management. At first, he blamed management, and then he realized it was the fans' fault. So then he took one of the belts and said it was the fraud title. He said it's up to him to do the right thing. He dropped the sham of a championship in the trash, And he said that's the same place where Jeff Hardy's championship dreams are going to go. Sami Zayn is fucking great, man. He's fucking awesome. Otis versus John Morrison. I could not give a single shit, bro. Rematch after rematch after rematch. This is Bruce Rematch Pritchard tonight. Otis versus John Morrison. Otis wins in 2 minutes. So, Graves said something about the idea of Otis being a champion and representing WWE with mustard stains on his shirt. This is the man that they gave the Money in the Bank contract to. The guy that commentary is making fun of because he has mustard stains on his t-shirt and he's fat. This is the guy they gave Money in the Bank to. Just by them kind of poking fun at his weight, like they usually do because they're sick, demented fucks over there. And Otis is no more than a comedy character. This is who they gave the Money in the Bank contract to. Great. He tossed Morrison into the ring, charged with a corner splash. He finished Morrison off with a caterpillar elbow drop, and he squashed John Morrison in 2 minutes. Great. Can we start a petition for John Morrison now? Maybe they draft John Morrison away from the fucking Miz. How about that? Maybe he goes to Monday Night Raw and Melina ends up with him. Melina may end up in the draft and she may get drafted to a brand. Being that she says she's not signed to the WWE, I can't wait to see Melina drafted in the fucking draft. Oh, I thought the reports were fake. I thought everything was a fucking hoax. Bullshit. That's what they need to do with John Morrison. Pair him up with Melina and have him go after a mid-card title. Simple. Or a WWE championship. He's just as good. Whatever. Morrison deserves better. Otis wins in 2 minutes. Sheamus made his way to the ring. And then we seen an inset interview with Big E. He said his mom was right. Sheamus is special. He said he'd like to beat his behind in the stands or the Amway Center stands and maybe end up in the Magic Kingdom. He offered a Falls Count Anywhere match against Sheamus next week. Great. Another rematch. Awesome. Speaking of rematches, we got Chad Gable versus Sheamus. Chad Gable was on TV. They lured him out of catering because Titus was baking cookies. Titus baked some chocolate chip cookies in catering. Chad Gable asked, bro, when are they going to be done? You got about 15 minutes on the oven. You mind if I go wrestle Sheamus for 1 minute? So Titus said, yes. You got 14 minutes. You got all the time in the world. They'll be piping hot. Come and get them. But you better be quick, because Dana Brooke, even though she got drafted to Monday Night Raw, traded to Monday Night Raw, she's lurking around here somewhere. You better hurry up. She's known for taking 7 chocolate chip cookies and leaving nobody with anything. So Sheamus wins in about 1 minute. Bro kick, and that was it. Unreal. Kevin Owens show. Kevin Owens show with Alexa Bliss. I love it how WWE is with Kevin Owens, man. What a waste. Huh? There was a report a couple of weeks back that Kevin Owens was frustrated with WWE Creative. I can tell. So, Kevin Owens is a glorified TV show host who WWE would rather have be an interviewer than a pro wrestler. So, he was interviewing Alexa Bliss, and he said after the draft, this could end up being his show. This is another thing I think is going to happen. WWE is teasing things here. WWE is making things pretty apparent with some of their creative decisions tonight. I do think Kevin Owens ends up on SmackDown. And he gets drafted to Friday nights. So he said this could end up being his show. He said he was happy to visit SmackDown when management asked. And he said he has a lot of questions for Alexa Bliss because he's been paying close attention to SmackDown despite being a Raw roster member. So Alexa Bliss came out. She sat next to Kevin Owens. He said he had so many questions because he noticed a change in her entire attitude. He said it reminds him of what he sees in Aleister Black, his nemesis, on Monday Night Raw. She said, what do you mean? When he said she used to try to cheer people up and make them laugh, that's not her anymore. She said, people change, Kevin. You should try it sometime. Don't you want to change and be better? Kevin Owens said yes, because he's done a lot of terrible things in his career, and he's been trying to do some things the right way. He said tonight is about her, not him. He said she needs to understand this, that this darkness that seems to have overtaken her. She said, listen, you need to understand me. You know, this is who I am now. Maybe Kevin Owens can be better at understanding Aleister Black if he followed the same thing as Alexa Bliss did with this character change and this attitude change. Bliss said being around him is terrifying and captivating all at the same time. She said, your spine gets cold when you're in his presence. When he touches you, your whole body goes numb. It feels like pins and needles. And when he looks into your eyes, it's like he's looking right through you and you can't look away. She asked KO if he has any idea what that's like. Owen said she seems to be brainwashed, so she won't get any answers. Yes, my brain has been washed. All the lies have been washed away, and now I see the truth. I've been changed by him, Kevin. I've been cleansed by him. Kevin Owens said, he's here, isn't he? She said, yes, he is here. And she said that she's going to let him in, and so should Kevin Owens. So the lights went out, and then all the red lights came on. Fiend was in the ring. He put the mandible claw on Kevin Owens and knocked him out with that terrible screeching music playing over and over and over again. Bliss just sat in her chair and watched with this very evil and stoic look on her face. She was nodding in approval at some points. KO was on the floor coughing. Fiend then walked over to Bliss, and she tilted her head and stared at him in a very just creepy-like way. He held out his arm, and she stood up, and she grabbed his hand, and she looked into the camera and smiled as the Fiend, he was just looking like he was aroused in this moment. And that was it. That was it. I love the way Alexa Bliss looked into the camera, man. It was almost as if it was like right out of a fucking horror movie, right? And that was the end scene of the movie. Cue the credits. I'll see you in part 2, right? I love the way she looked. And the Fiend, man, someone's got to tell JoJo over there. JoJo is not happy, man. I don't know. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I think this is the best work of her career. And it's good to see that there is multiple layers to this Alexa Bliss character, man. I've been loving the transformation. I love the evil side when the Fiend is mentioned. I love the fact that she thinks she is normal when other people clearly know that she's not. And I just love this creepy vibe that she's got going on, man. Like I said, she's doing the best acting work of her career with this Fiend character. And I want to see how this fully manifests and what Alexa Bliss turns into, really. So I don't know where this goes. I don't know if they stay on SmackDown, like I mentioned, or if they get drafted to Monday Night Raw. I think they get drafted to Monday Night Raw. So we'll see what happens there. I think we got this match with Kevin Owens and The Fiend next week because they're both switching brands. WWE's not going to make that match unless both guys are switching brands. So that is my prediction on the draft next week. Fiend goes to Monday night with Alexa Bliss, and Kevin Owens comes over to Friday Night SmackDown. We got Lindsay Dorado, Matt Riddle, and Gran Metalik versus Baron Corbin, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Matt Riddle and Lucha House Party win in 6 minutes. This was decent for what it was, but my God, man, rematch after rematch after rematch. I complained that this was nothing more than rematches, and we got 2 rematches in 1 match. That's what this 6-man tag was on SmackDown. So we go to commercial break right in the beginning. We got Baron Corbin and the tag team champions in control. They isolated Metalik, cut him off from his partners. Nakamura attempted an exploder. Metalik landed on his feet, hit a tornado DDT. Riddle got the hot tag, ran wild on Baron Corbin. Riddle hit the Broton and a running kick for a 2 count. Dorado took out Nakamura with a handspring stunner, which looked slightly botched. Metalik took out Corbin with a huge dive. Dorado attempted the handspring stunner on Cesaro, but he blocked the move. Kalisto jumped on the apron and accidentally kicked Dorado in the face. Regardless of that, They bounced back. Riddle hit the Broderick on Cesaro for the win. So kudos to Matt Riddle for saving his team and the not Lindsay Dorado, but the Lindsay Dorado kick to the face by Kalisto. But Matt Riddle saved the team anyway in the end for the win. And that was pretty much it. After the match, Dorado and Kalisto were shoving and arguing, and Riddle and Metalik broke up the push-around brawl by the two luchadors. That was pretty much it. Moving on, man. Sasha Banks, and Bayley. This is the big thing coming out of SmackDown on top of Roman Reigns and the Intercontinental title match that ended the show. Now, I did an off-the-script extra this week that went up on Thursday. If you guys missed that, go and check it out. We talk about Bayley and Sasha Banks and the rumor coming out of WrestleVotes on Twitter, where they say that Bayley and Sasha Banks will indeed main event Hell in a Cell. So that's that. We're getting Sasha Banks and Bayley inside Hell in a Cell. Okay? I think that's common knowledge to everybody. Even before tonight, I think everybody kind of knew where they were going with this shit. Now, the one question I had was, is it too soon to be doing the first match inside Hell in a Cell? The answer is yes. I did not want their first match to be inside Hell in a Cell. In fact, if it did end up inside Hell in a Cell, like we all know it is anyway, I think Bayley should win. Injure Sasha Banks, keep Sasha Banks off TV, and have her come back at the Royal Rumble. And then have her win the Royal Rumble and get another shot at Bayley through the Royal Rumble and win the title at WrestleMania. That's what I would do. Instead of giving the match away and have it be their first match inside Hell in a Cell. Only to see another match happen after that, and another match happen after that, and yada, yada, yada. Whatever. So Sasha Banks is in the ring. She's still wearing the neck brace. Thank God. Sasha Banks stood middle of the ring and asked Bayley if she thought her not being medically cleared would stop her from beating her ass at Clash of Champions. She said Bayley can learn from her now to have a backbone. She called Bayley a coward who needed her time and time again to help her win all of her title matches. You were using me to become the longest reigning SmackDown champion in history. She said she knows Bayley isn't there because she is scared of her, but next week they will wrestle for the SmackDown Women's Championship. She said when it comes down to them, with nobody there to save Bayley, you won't stand a chance, bitch. She then ripped the neck brace off of her neck, and Cole said that she is ready for Bayley next week and the SmackDown Women's Championship. I am not a fan at all of this match being given away already. WWE is blowing their fucking load on what? All it does is give you the impression that WWE wants to end this. And they want to rush through it after giving this so much time on television. Now, granted, I said I don't want their first match to be inside Hell in a Cell for the title. But what does next week do? Next week pretty much ensures that the match is going to end in a fuck finish. Because if you think WWE is not going to put Sasha Banks and Bayley inside Hell in a Cell, you are clearly fucking stupid. You don't know much of anything then at that point. Next week's match is going to end in a fuck finish. So why bother doing it? WWE is loading this show up for what? WWE is loading this show up with Kevin Owens versus The Fiend. WWE is putting Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And they got Big E versus Sheamus in a Falls Count Anywhere match on top of the draft. The draft wasn't all you needed to do to sell this show. You needed to add this match on next week's show? What? Giving this away on free TV goes to show you that WWE has no fucking patience, no fucking clue, and they are completely incapable of keeping anything special. Now again, I want to try and level with everybody here. WWE more than likely is going to have 3 matches between these two. We may get a match next week. We may get a match the following week. And then we may get this feud to end inside Hell in a Cell because WWE knows exactly that I am right. You can't have their first match end in a Hell in a Cell or start in a Hell in a Cell. The Hell in a Cell is an ending. It's a final boss. It's a final stage for a feud. You can't have their first match inside Hell in a Cell unless you do exactly what I say and Sasha loses and then gets really brutally attacked and then comes back at the Royal Rumble. WWE has a few ways to go about this. They could do exactly that, match after match, and then end inside Hell in a Cell. I want to level with everybody here. Are they blowing through the feud because they know Survivor Series is coming up? Now, I don't think that has much to do with anything. If Sasha wins the title, then more than likely she's going one-on-one with Asuka. I don't know if NXT is going to be included in Survivor Series this year. I think last year was all right. I thought it was forced. I didn't like triple threat matches everywhere all night. So I would leave them off of Survivor Series this year. It was an experiment last year. It didn't go well. I don't need to see fucking 3 champions in a single match all night long. It looks stupid. Just worry about the main roster. If Sasha's going to win the title, she's going up against Asuka at Survivor Series. Is WWE going to just move on from Bayley? Are they going to split Bayley up? Is Bayley going to Monday Night Raw? I don't know. I would assume so. What if Bayley wins? What if Bayley wins this match? What if Bayley wins this feud, beats Sasha inside Hell in a Cell, and we get a comeback story with Sasha Banks? What if? I'm just throwing this out there. What if Bayley beats Sasha Banks, which I would not be opposed to, because Bayley has been great as a SmackDown Women's Champion. Bayley beats Sasha Banks inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha is so obsessed with getting back at Bayley, so obsessed with winning that SmackDown Women's Championship, that she gets drafted to Monday Night Raw. There's nothing she can do about it. Absolutely nothing she can do about it. She won't get Bayley at the Survivor Series. Bayley can go on and run through a couple more women through the months leading up to the Royal Rumble, going into WrestleMania. Sasha gets drafted to Monday Night Raw. What if Sasha gets drafted to Monday Night Raw, wins the Royal Rumble, and then she challenges Bayley anyway, Bayley thinking that she got rid of Sasha Banks. No way that Sasha Banks is going to win the Royal Rumble, and she ends up winning the Royal Rumble anyway. So Sasha gets drafted to Monday Night Raw to give them a little bit of a rest, giving Bayley this sense of, oh, look, I got rid of her. Oh, ha, ha, ha. She gets drafted to Monday Night Raw for a little bit, wins the Royal Rumble. She's on Monday Night Raw till January, and then she starts showing up on SmackDown because now she's owed a SmackDown Women's Championship match by winning the Royal Rumble. I think that, if WWE wants to do what they're doing here, I don't necessarily agree with having it happen now. I don't like it being given away on free TV. One positive is the last match is going to end inside Hell in a Cell. It's not going to be there first. But if WWE is giving away this shit now for ratings, and they want to pop a big rating because of the draft, don't know why, because the draft is all you really need. WWE has Bayley beat Sasha Banks. She goes away, gets drafted to Raw, comes back and wins the Royal Rumble, and we get Bayley versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania anyway. That's what needs to happen. That is something that I would take, and I think a lot of people would absolutely accept. I don't think anybody right now, Sasha Banks, listen, coming off an injury in this situation, is she going to be 100% through one match, two match, and then a third match inside Hell in a Cell? I don't know. That's open for Bayley to really win and kind of level into Sasha Banks a little bit. I think that's the best way to go about it. Because right now, if WWE doesn't do that, it feels like they're just blowing through this feud that they put so much time and effort into, and it just feels rushed at the end of the day. Sasha Banks and Bayley at WrestleMania can still happen. And if WrestleMania is going to happen in Tampa like reported today, and there's going to be live fans there, why would you not explore Sasha Banks and Bayley and give them the proper stage for that to happen? It needs to happen. WWE can still make this right. Do I give them the benefit of the doubt on this one? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think they're going to blow their load, and everybody's going to be, oh my God, Sasha Banks won. Then what? Why are we going to end it like this? Is nothing special anymore? Why can't we prolong all of this just epic storytelling and have it consolidated into this grand story where it goes from one phase to the next? Why do we need to blow it all? Because SmackDown needs ratings. Because Hell in a Cell needs a main event. Why do we have to rush through everything? There is still ways to work around doing weekly episodic television without busting your fucking nut in 3 weeks. Do the right thing. Stop with the uncreative fucking rush job. Sasha should lose if she's going into Hell in a Cell. Have her win the Rumble and make it epic. It can still tell a story if they're not really on TV telling the story themselves. They'll just be on separate brands and then they reconnect at WrestleMania. Moving on here, man. Sami Zayn versus Jeff Hardy. Intercontinental Championship. This was a very good TV main event. Sami Zayn is great, man. I keep saying it over and over again. They did the formal ring introductions, and I loved when Sami Zayn, he was yelling at Greg Hamilton, "You know what to do. You know how to announce me and address me now," right? So Sami Zayn, he was listening to Greg Hamilton announce him as the Intercontinental Champion, and Greg Hamilton gave him this really over-the-top epic introduction, and Sami Zayn was lip-syncing, word for word, what Greg Hamilton was saying, and he looked like he was fucking enjoying himself, smile on his face, he loved it. He loved it. All the while, he took the turnbuckle pad off right behind him and hid it from everybody's sight. So they went to commercial break. We got Sami getting attacked by Jeff Hardy. He leapt off the steps. Sami moved and Hardy crashed into the barricade. We go to commercial break. So then they showed a clip of Sami back from commercial break of him uncovering the turnbuckle pad. So Graves said he would expect such nefarious actions from someone like Jeff Hardy, but not Sami Zayn. So we got Hardy knocking Sami Zayn off balance on the top rope. He then superplexed him to the mat. Hardy kicked out of a blue thunder bomb, which looked great. Sami lifted his knees on a swanton. Sami then went for the haluva kick. Hardy moved and went for a twist of fate. Sami blocked it and then yanked Hardy off the top rope. He then landed face first on the top turnbuckle with the exposed steel, and Sami Zayn got the 3 count, and that was a victory for Sami Zayn, and he retained the Intercontinental Championship. The referee in this instance, there was a spot in the match where he was standing, clear vantage point at the turnbuckle. He knew exactly what the heel, in this case, Sami Zayn, wanted to do. Sami Zayn, late in the match, wanted to Irish whip Jeff Hardy into the turnbuckle. You would think that the referee would get another fucking turnbuckle pad on there. He would jump in the way and thwart the Irish whip on one of these guys and use himself as a shield so that they don't do it. No, you can't use this. It's an instant disqualification if you do so, because you're using an illegal object. It's not really an illegal object per se, but it's cheating. He took the turnbuckle pad off with cheating in mind. Referee's just standing there, right? There was no inkling of a fucking idea from this referee to go and do something about that turnbuckle pad. There's nobody else in the timekeeper's area that came and put a new fucking turnbuckle pad on as if they don't have 1,000 of them fucking things laying around, right? So he just stood there. And then he watched the ending of the fucking match. He watched the ending of the match where the turnbuckle fucking exposed came into play and he just let it go. He just let it happen. He was like, nah, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. You want to use it, by all means use it. I know it's a disqualification, so use it. I don't give a fuck. Fuck do I care? I don't have stakes on this match. I'm not betting on this match. I'm not the Intercontinental Champion. I don't give a fuck. Give me a break. Blind ass referee. Sami Zayn wins. A little silly with the end there, but Sami Zayn wins and he retains the Intercontinental Championship. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was your SmackDown on Fox review. That's pretty much it. I'm telling you right now, man, that Sasha Banks thing needs to happen. Somebody in creative better be listening to me, man. Yo, where's Mikaze at? Give me his number. Let me call him up. Tell the wife. Listen, tell creative what you need to do. Come on. Seriously. Sasha needs to lose at Hell in a Cell if that is the way that they are going. That's what they need to do. Sasha wins the Royal Rumble. Don't tell me Charlotte. Don't tell me Bianca. Don't tell me Tessa. Okay? Sasha. This year is Sasha's time to shine. Somebody let her know. Guys, super chats are open. Super chats are open. If you guys want to hang out while we do some super chats, you are more than welcome. If you guys want to get on out of here, I will see you live for Off the Script tomorrow afternoon, man. Big episode. We will talk about WWE taking control and seizing everybody's Twitch account, and their revenue now goes towards their downside guarantees. We go over it all on the podcast tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune into that at 5 p.m. So that is going live on the channel, and the super chats are open, guys. Let's hang out. Let's hang out and have some fun, man. Take a sip of my fucking energy drink here. Drinking this Reign Body Fuel Orange Dreamsicle. Hit me up for a sponsorship, man. I'd love to have a Reign refrigerator in my game room while I hop on my PS4 next weekend and play some Cold War. Some good stuff, man. Let's go with the super chats, man. Super chats are open. Get them on in. Pedro, $5 Canadian, enjoying a raspberry-infused pumpkin ale. That sounds delicious, bro. You're speaking my language. Raspberry, pumpkin. Oh. While you dissect the show with surgical precision. Keep up the great work. No BS, just 100% truth. Thank you so much, Pedro. Thanks for showing up again, man. Happy to have you here. Jacob Donnelly, $10 super chat. It's probably nothing, but I noticed Bayley versus Sasha didn't get an official match graphic advertised for next week, so I'm going to assume a swerve is coming. Of course there's a swerve. Of course there's a swerve, man. WWE is giving us a Hell in a Cell match. Stephen Vandelli. What is up, brother? $4.99. Absolutely loving the new layout design, my brother. What's up, Twitch fam? If you guys did not check out the Twitch stream yesterday, man, we are looking sharp. We are looking sharp, man. It's going to look even better when I set up that Elgato green screen very soon. We're taking the Twitch stream to the next level, man. If you're not on the Twitch, I don't know what you're doing. Come and hang out one of these days, man. I looked in the chat. Barry in the chat. JD, do you think Sami Callihan could fit in AEW? Absolutely. And it's also your big 50th birthday, bro. Wow. Happy 50th, brother. Yeah, Sami Callihan is great. Sami Callihan can main event any wrestling show on the planet. That's how good he is. Laura Conway, $4.99. I hope you're having a great night. I'm happy because it's the weekend and I get to watch you because I don't need to get up early in the morning. Isn't that great? Sleep it in, Laura. Sleep it in. JP5150, $10 super chat. The moment I see Clown King Corbin and Matt Riddle looking like hippie Longstocking, I cringe. But the only thing truly was the Tribal Chief Roman and the Fiend's proxy Alexa Bliss. Yeah, Corbin sucks. Corbin absolutely sucks, man. I can't stand him. Justin, $1.99. Padres versus Dodgers in the NLDS, so no Atlanta versus St. Louis. Yeah, but that's not necessarily good either, because the Padres are, they're pretty powerful, and the Dodgers were the best team in baseball. So, I don't think that necessarily bodes well for the Braves. But if I had to choose my poison, clearly I take the Padres. Retro 90s, Kid 85, $2 super chat. Just ordered my black JD mask yesterday, bro. Keep it up. Thank you so much, brother. Hope you enjoy them. Kelly, what is up? $5 super chat. Didn't watch SmackDown. Don't care because I was busy watching Train to Busan. Keep up the God's work. Rock on. Thank you, Kelly. I really appreciate you. See you in the Twitch when I can. We got more retro. He's got a $15 super chat. JD from NY206, YouTube Wrestling Messiah. JD doing God's work so we don't have to watch the WWE garbage. Still torn on NXT, though on my feelings, AEW rules. Have a few cold ones on me, brother, and stay frosty and stay safe. JD's Army for life. Thank you, Retro. Appreciate you, man. NXT should be good this weekend. I think Kyle O'Reilly is going to be the new NXT champion. That's just me. Hooligram, $2 super chat. White Pony IPA Limited. I hope you enjoy them. Brother, you got to hit me up. You found that? Hit me up, brother. I'm following you on Twitter, so I got to send you my mailing address. You're a fucking beast, man. I knew you'd come through. I actually forgot, but I know you mentioned it to me a couple of days ago. And now that you got one, love it, bro. Thank you. Mario Mania. $5 super chat. Canadian. Watching you play Super Mario Maker 2 was hilarious when you got frustrated. So entertaining. Any chance of playing other Super Mario games? Bless you. I just bought 3D All-Stars. So I might be playing this. I'm not sure yet. We got so many games coming out, so much shit coming out with the PS5 coming out, Destiny's coming out with Beyond Light, Cold War, I'm going to be all over. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. I've been playing a lot of Warzone lately. I want to be good at Warzone, but it's just impossible, man. It really is. We got Cesar Rodriguez, $4.99. Saw your rant on hand baskets earlier. I honestly can't wait for COVID to go away. Hope you're doing well, JD. Man, I went to a supermarket in my area earlier, and I went to go look for hand baskets. I didn't need a cart. I needed $15 worth of shit, legitimately. What do I need to lug a cart around for? I want to be in and out. So I didn't see any baskets when I walked in. I walked around the entire store looking for baskets because people usually leave them in the aisleways. People usually leave them by the register, right? So I didn't find one. So I asked the lady at the service counter, excuse me, do you guys have any hand baskets? I need one because I don't need much. She's like, oh no, we got rid of the hand baskets. And I asked why. And she said people touched them. You know, it's something that went away because of COVID. So I said to her, you got rid of the hand baskets, but you want me to touch a cart. What is the difference between a cart and a hand basket? I'm touching the cart, a cart that was touched by somebody else before me. Same thing with the hand basket. The card reader, I gotta touch the card reader to enter my fucking code for my debit card. The stuff on the shelf in the supermarket was touched by somebody else. How do you think it got there? How do you think it got on the shelf? Harry Potter flew in on his fucking broomstick and waved his fucking magic wand? Fucking ridiculous. Just give me my fucking hand basket. Fucking people are ridiculous, man. And people are going crazy over Trump getting COVID. Oh, I wish he dies. People are fucking wishing his death. Dave Bautista was on Twitter today. I have zero compassion for Donald Trump. See people on Twitter saying, hopefully COVID takes him. He's got a fucking cough. I heard the news tonight. He's got a mild cough and a headache. If that constitutes as COVID, bro, the fuck are we flipping out over? A headache? I get a headache every fucking Monday night. Do I have COVID? He don't have COVID. He ain't dying of COVID, and he's not losing the election. I'd be shocked if he does. Retro with another $2. Good point to question in the chat. Mario Bro game. Don't know what you mean, man. I got Mario All-Stars for the Switch. Vemshi with a $100 rupee donation. Hi, JD. Great to see All you've ever said about Roman turned true. His offense, look, everything is heelish from the beginning. I miss live crowd reactions now. Yes, of course. Imagine Roman Reigns in front of a live audience, bro. Be fucking glorious. Justin Strickland with a $9.99 and a $4.99 super chat. It seems we're going to get 3 Hell in a Cell matches at the pay-per-view. Cole and Graves kept teasing Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns being inside Hell in a Cell during Jey's match with AJ Styles. Bro, 1 Hell in a Cell match is all you need. They'll probably do Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Sasha and Bayley for sure, but Roman versus Jey does not need to be inside Hell in a Cell. No way. Everything that WWE booked for next Friday's show definitely screams desperation for ratings. Absolutely. Hulugram with a $2 super chat. Where's all the ham baskets? With a crying emoji. Love you, bro. Where the fuck are they, man? I don't know. Joe Flip, $4.99. Keep it up. Thank you, brother. The Little Kev, $1.99. Who do you think is switching brands? Don't know, don't care. I gave some of my opinions on the show tonight. If you listened, you know who they are. I am not getting excited about a fucking draft when WWE has ruined the last 2 drafts. What has changed? I want you guys to realize this. What has changed? You think because a draft is happening, the shows are going to be different? The shows are going to look different? The shows are going to feel different? Is the creative changing? Are they being drafted? It's the same writing team writing for new faces. It's the same garbage writing headed by Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. What do you think's going to happen? A draft is going to change the landscape of WWE? The landscape will change when Bruce and Vince are gone. I am not excited about a fucking draft. Riddick, thank you for the super chat, man. $5 super chat. Well, I am glad to see that they are adding another layer to the Reigns family story and not going with the Fiend. Also, Sami Zayn is a national treasure. Absolutely, man. Chris, $4.99 super chat. What's up, JD and OTS family? McIntyre versus Reigns at Survivor Series sounds like a great match if it happens. JD, the tribal chief of the IWC. Love you, bro. I think it's going to be Randy Orton, respectfully, man. Orton versus Reigns at Survivor Series. Alexis, $2 super chat. Today marks 1 year I stopped watching WWE. I love OTS. Well, thank you. I got everything you need right here. AWS Promotions, a $4.99 super chat. Wish Baron Corbin could get his regular entrance music back. End of Days by Bad Wolves. Yeah, his royal theme added to his original theme music. Actually, no, he's got new theme. He doesn't have new theme music, but his old theme music, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was a great song. That was a very good song. I don't mind his new song either. But the royal addition to his theme song ruins his theme song. I don't like it. Daniel Easterday, $2 super chat. I wish Vince would trust Heyman with creative. He seems to trust Bruce, and Bruce is ruining his shows. Jericho, 8131, a $5 super chat. Pandemic-related question. Do you plan on getting the vaccine when it comes out? I know a lot of people I know are 50-50 on it. Absolutely fucking not. No. Never in my life have I gotten a flu shot as an adult. I hardly ever get sick. You take care of yourself and you do the proper things you need to do to maintain good health, you won't get sick. You eat right, you won't get sick. You exercise daily, you won't get sick. I'm not taking a vaccine. And nobody should take a vaccine either. Give me a break. Who the fuck knows what's going to be in it? They're developing a vaccine, supposedly. This thing has already been made. Give me a break. This vaccine has already been created. They're just waiting to unleash it at the right time. But they're pretending like a vaccine is being concocted in about 6 months. to a year. And if that's the case, why would anybody inject something in their body that they don't know actually works? What are they putting in you? Why would you do that to yourself? No, I'm not taking a vaccine. I'll tell you what I am taking. I'm taking my ass out of here. Thank you guys very much, man. Oh, Jesse, you know me, bro. You know me. Here we go. Why? You rather me talk about Britt Baker? I can do that. Oh, my God. Now I got Hoot Media. Oh, it was a question. Let me answer the fucking question. He gave me $5, Jericho. Anyway, I'm getting out of here, guys. We got a big day tomorrow. Off the Script is an hour and a half long. Sunday's episode is about an hour and 10. Cover everything. Big stories this weekend. Twitch and Miro. You're going to want to watch tomorrow's show. Ulysses with a $20 super chat. I'm not saying I'm for Trump. I can give a damn about any politics, but it just irks me that people are doing exactly what they say Trump does about spewing hate. I just wanted to point that out because what Batista said. Everybody that's hating on Trump and wishing death on Trump is a hypocritical bitch. That's all they are. But when they do it to somebody else, oh, it doesn't matter. Right? They're free. They're innocent. But now that they do it to Trump, it's okay, right? He's still a human being. He's a husband with a wife, and he's got kids. So, he's still a human being. Let me go ask AJ Styles, Jesse. I'll call AJ up. He thinks the world is flat. I'll let you know. Guys, I'm getting out of here, man. Thank you so very much. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram @JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that like button. Let's get it up to 1,000. Thank you guys for showing up to the SmackDown review tonight. I'll see you guys on Off the Script. Mouthmasker.com/OTS. Go get your masks. Bonfire.com. Go get your t-shirts. And check the link for all the videos that you might have missed down below in the description. Guys, I'm taking my keys, getting in the Mustang, rolling the windows down. I got my cold beverage on ice. I'm driving away, and when you hear that guitar solo, man, you know that Off the Script is live, motherfucker. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Off the Script.